Hey, hello everybody and welcome to another Walking Dead video, and today we'll be talking about the top 10 worst characters on The Walking Dead. This is my definitive list for the characters that I think are the worst in the show. So before we get into this, if you want to see the top 10 best characters, I recommend you look in the top right now, see the top 10 best, and feel free to subscribe to get to all things Walking Dead. And let's jump right into my list and talk about some honorable mentions, because this list was not easy to make. I thought this would be an easy list, but no, there's a lot of really bad characters on the show. So I have some honorable mentions, and they are Andrea and Jadis. Both these characters were very annoying on their time on the show. They both had very short times, but their times have stained and embedded themselves in my memory of The Walking Dead, and it is not pleasant. Jadis was annoying by the way she was talking. She had a terrible arc, and Andrea just kept making stupid decisions that were out of her character in season 3. But those are my honorable mentions, so let's jump right into the video with the number 10 spot. Now, in 10th place is Alden, and some people really like this character, but for me, this guy is not my cup of tea. I always thought Alden was quite boring and didn't really have much story. They definitely in Season 8 set up to be the Dante for Maggie, but however, because Maggie left during the Whisper arc, they had to redo Alden's story for Season 9 in a whole different arc. So all the setup in Season 8 didn't really carry on to the later seasons, and after season 9 they really didn't do much with Alden for almost 2 seasons for him to just suddenly die off screen in season 11. This character had a lot of potential, but they didn't really do much with him, and that's why he's on this list, because he's just a very boring character, didn't really have much screen time, wasn't very much liked in my opinion. I just didn't like him when I saw him on screen, because I didn't care about him, because he didn't have any backstory. We didn't see much of him. We didn't really know the character like we would have if Lon Curran stayed on the show for season 9. We probably would have got a very bigger deep dive on the character. I mean, he probably would have been way better. So he's kind of a casualty of Lon Curran. The next character in number 9 is Enid, and this is another character that has a similar issue to Alden, where their story arc changed halfway through their run on the show, so it didn't really work, where she was being set up to be the romance option for Carl. Because Sophie was dead in the show, they gave Enid and they made Enid for Carl, but then they suddenly killed off Carl while writing season 8. That means Enid's story had to change, and it didn't really work. Enid was on the show for quite a long time, however, she never really developed any real presence or characters or any staying power on the show. She was just a character there in the background to be Carl's romance and then Alden's. That was her purpose. Enid really didn't have any direction to her character and the story, which is why I don't like her. She just felt there a lot of the time, and she, in my opinion, wasn't the best acted. With the show of The Walking Dead being so big, you have so many great actors on the show, but you also have some duds, and in my opinion Enid is very low down there in the acting ability compared to some of their co-stars, so that's why Enid's on this list. Now in number 8 has to be Nicholas. This character is just so bad just because how annoying they are. They were definitely written to be that way, so it's not that the actors just couldn't act. They were doing what they were told to do. However, their story was so annoying. It's really annoying looking at comic Nicholas and seeing show Nicholas. You're like, what the hell happened? And they just really made Nicholas this little weasel, and it really made him so annoying to watch. This weasel get away with so many things to then just kill himself and not be punished for all the things he's done. I thought Nicholas was really annoying. It's good he only survived a couple of episodes. It's not like he was around for seasons like some characters that are on this list. They're around for so long and they're so annoying. But Nicholas had such a short time, but he still outstayed his welcome in my opinion. He was so annoying to watch, and he was just a really annoying small villain. Moving on to 7th place, it is Magna. The reason why Magna is here is just because this character does absolutely nothing and is on the show. This character has never done anything. At least some of the other characters, like I mentioned, Alden and Enid, they had some sort of story arc. Magna, though, really doesn't. She has had zero character development whatsoever. And looking at Magna on the show now, she's barely even in the show. She's slowly being written off. And it's really annoying how other characters in Magna's group left the show when Magna is the worst character in that group. Kelly's not too bad. Like, I don't like Kelly, but Magna, I really hate Magna. She's really boring. The acting isn't very good, and it's not probably because the bad acting, the actor can't act. I definitely think the actor could act if they were given material that was worthwhile. But Magna's actor is never given anything. And that just leads to her being on this list, in my opinion. Moving on to 6th place is Beth. And I think a lot of people would agree that Beth would be in this top 10 list. Just because Beth is a character that didn't really do much, and they were very annoying, and they were killed off just when they started to get good. Beth is a character that had so much potential, a lot like some other characters on this list, however was killed before their time. If Beth carried on past season 5, we could have made Beth a really cool and interesting character, and she would have been maybe in the top half of the best characters on the show. But no, what Beth really did is she kind of moped around for a couple of seasons, did something really stupid, and got herself killed. It also doesn't help that the actor for Beth is not the best. Beth always had kind of stilted acting sometimes. Like, Beth is not one of the top end actors. Like, the acting for Beth is not one of the best, like Andrew Lincoln for Rick. I would have to say this is kind of a recurrent theme going into the next couple of characters, where their characters feel very wooden, and Beth did feel wooden for me. She was very boring, wasn't very interested, and really had no presence. She wasn't really an impactful character and had no direction with her story. In number 5 is Ron, and this character is just so annoying, and the reason why he's on this list is because he wasn't well acted. Ron is one of the children characters, and most children characters on the show just have bad writing. They have stupid storylines, like a weird love triangle, and Ron trying to kill Carl because Carl's dad killed. Like, it's just stupid. I didn't like the love triangle and the Ron having revenge because his dad was murdered, because his dad literally murdered someone else. Like, there's no common sense with this, and the acting was really wooden with Ron. I can't say much more about Ron other than he was just very boring, bad acting, and he had very bad storylines. In 4th place is Maggie, and this is a controversial opinion. I know some people really like Maggie, but me personally, I really don't like Maggie. She really annoys me. And it's something that's happened more recently. I feel like Maggie before season 7 was a very cool and interesting character. And it's nothing to do with the acting of Lauren Cohen, because Lauren Cohen can clearly act. Look at earlier seasons to prove her acting prowess. It's just the later seasons, I say from season 7 onwards, the acting and the direction for Maggie has just been really stilted at points. And look at the character development of Maggie. It's non-existent up until 11B from 7. She has had the same, like, character development for that long. She's like, oh, I'm mad at Negan. Oh, I'm mad at Negan. Each season to, oh, I'm mad at Negan, to 11B. Oh, okay, I trust you, Negan. Okay, so you've taken, what's that, 4 or 5 seasons at this point to have some character development. That is really annoying. It's just Maggie was very badly written. It didn't help that Lauren Cohen left for a season, then came back because her show failed. But outside of that fact, they could have made some development to Maggie in the decade or the time period that's passed in the show's timeline to maybe when she was gone in the time jump, she progressed her character and forgave Negan then, so you could have a very interested Maggie when she came back at the end of season 10. But no, it's the same Maggie you got in season 9A, same Maggie you got in season 7 and 8. There's been no character development for Maggie, and it really annoys me. I also don't like how Maggie makes a lot of stupid decisions in the show, and everyone treats her like she's the best leader they can have. She should be the next Rick Grimes, when other characters are clearly more qualified and have a better track record of leading than Maggie, because Maggie has a very long track record of taking leadership of a place and then running it to the ground killing people. Look at Meridian, look at Hilltop multiple times. She's a very stubborn character, and everyone treats her like, oh, she's the next big leader, when other characters like Daryl have proven that they can be very good reluctant leaders. You can have Ezekiel, Carol can also be a good leader, and Aaron, but everyone looks to Maggie for leadership, and it really sucks. In 3rd place, and I think some people, or most people, would expect this character to be on the list, it is Carl. And this guy is quite high. I know some people might have him a bit lower, but for a lot of people, Carl is on their worst character list. And he is for me. I just really didn't like Carl, and the biggest reasons is that he had a really bad, boring story with them. Okay, we're going to go down the dark story of Carl in season 3 to have a time jump, and that completely ruined a lot of the time during Carl's time on the show. They just started an arc and they didn't finish it because they gave Carl a new arc. Like, look at the dark arc, look at the arc where Carl just suddenly becomes a pacifist out of nowhere, and that gets him killed. Carl had a stupid death because of his sudden I'm a pacifist arc. And just to mention, we are going to talk about Chandler Riggs' acting. He is one of the better child actors. However, his acting is not the best. Chandler Riggs has proven he can act in the really over dramatic scenes well, but just normal acting, like with Carl normally talking, it feels wooden and the line delivery is not very good. I just always found Chandler Riggs a bit cringy. I just couldn't watch a lot of the Carl scenes. I felt like, really, Carl was best in season 5 and maybe in season 4, okay? I felt like he was a bit too bad. The acting was basically non-existent in season 1 to 3, and he just became too cringy with his pacifist arc in season maybe 7 to 8. He was okay in season 6, but he always had really bad arcs, his acting was bad, and he was just super cringy. Not a good character. This is one of the biggest miscasts, in my opinion, with Chandler Riggs being Carl. It also didn't help as the comic Carl stuff couldn't be adapted because Carl got too old in the show, so they couldn't do all the child going dark things like they could in the comics, which sucks, but this just adds to me disliking show Carl even more. Now, in runner-up place and second is Tara, and I know some people do like Tara, but for me, I really don't like Tara. She was an okay character from season 4 to 6, but I feel like season 7 and 8 really ruined Tara for me with how bad her storyline was. And going to season 9, I just really didn't care about Tara. So her storyline, which was an improvement, I still just like, nah, I've turned off. I don't care about Tara. So season 9 didn't stay for my opinion. If Tara was around for maybe a bit longer, maybe I would have liked Tara again. But no, season 7 and 8 just really ruined her for my opinion. So Tara has a really bad storyline. Also, I'm going to mention that I feel like Tara's acting was not very good. Look at any dramatic scenes, they're just kind of blank a lot of the time. Her acting's very wooden. The scene that I can think of that is the biggest like kind of proof how bad her acting is at points. Look at the time where Tara goes home in season 7 and finds out her girlfriend's dead, Glenn and Abraham are dead, and look at her, the aftermath of that scene. What do we see? We just see Tara laying down and just sitting there. Not crying, no emotion, just sitting there while we have Rosita talk to her. There is no emotion there. Another example is in season 4 when she sees her sister's dead. What does Tara do? Oh, I'm a bit shocked. It's just really annoying. Tara doesn't have the best acting. I will have to say also, I never really found Tara funny. They did really write it into the funny character from season 7 onwards, but it never really worked to me. It really didn't work. It could have done it to another character or written Tara as a funny character from the get-go. It just feels really weird from having Tara being this kind of okay background character from season 4 to 6 to now trying to be this is our funny comic relief character because the two comic relief characters are already dead. Like, I just didn't like it after they killed off Glenn and Abraham, which are the comic relief characters. They put it into Tara, and it just didn't work in my opinion. Now, in first place, and this is probably going to be very controversial, because some people really like this character, is Carol. I really do not like Carol. I think Carol very much outstayed her welcome and should have died in the Savior arc. Like, Carol just is a very bad character in my opinion, and it's nothing to do with Melissa Bride. It's all to do with the writing, because Melissa Bride, if she's given good material, she is one of the best actors on the show. She portrays Carol so well. Look at Rambo Carol. Like, Carol was one of the best characters from season 4 to season 6 in my opinion, but from season 7 onwards she's kind of been meh, and then from season 9 she's just been like unbearable to watch. I feel like the end of season 9, Carol was just ruined in my opinion. I feel like she's annoying. She definitely should have died. They don't know what to do with Carol, so they're just kind of going, we're going to have angry Carol. We're going to have Carol be the angry character who makes all the stupid mistakes, which leads to all the events of the season happening. That's literally the reason why whole parts of the season didn't happen, is because Carol's in a bad mood. And it's just so annoying. She gets away with a lot of things. I really don't like Carol. She is cool when she's like being Rambo Carol or Detective Carol, but she just is so annoying a lot of the time with the stupid decisions and the bad writing around Carol. I definitely think there's been a slight improvement in season 11, but season 9 and 10 have ruined Carol, in my opinion. She definitely should have died in the Savior arc, in my opinion. And that is my list of the top 10 worst characters on The Walking Dead. So tell me down below, what do you think of my list? Do you agree with it? Do you disagree with me? And if you have a different list, I want to know your top 10 hated, least favourite, worst characters down below. I want to know who you hate the most, and maybe tell me your top 3 favourite as well while you're at it. And I will see you later. So if you want more Walking Dead content, please look on the screen. I recommend you do look on the screen and click on something, because you'll find something else you like, guaranteed. And if you want more Walking Dead content all the time, and to keep up to date on all things Walking Dead for all the shows, all news, even the movies, I recommend you subscribe to this channel. But this is it for me today. So goodbye, peace out, and I'll talk to you at a later date.